line false lashes. The first ones are my lash tweezers. I like these tweezers specifically because of the shape. I prefer these over regular tweezers because the shape allows you to get really close to your lash line, which makes application so much easier. The next tool is my lash curler. I got these ones because they are made for deep set and almond shaped eyes, which I have, so they're perfect. I also like having small scissors on hand because I tend to have to cut lashes a lot so that they fit my eye shape because they're usually too long. And then lastly, my Thrive Cosmetics lash glue. Not only is it my favorite lash glue, but I also like their company because whenever you purchase a product, they donate one to a woman in need. So I'm all for that. Now let's go ahead and assess my eye shape. Now obviously I already know my eye shape. I have almond shaped eyes and they are hooded. But I just want to include this because it's important to assess your eye shape because that will allow you to know what lashes to go for and what to aim for. I also assessed where it is the most hooded, and every hooded eye is different, so it's important to figure this out because this will also help you figure out which lash is best for your eye shape. Now let's go ahead and look at two examples. Clearly one is the bad and one is the good. Both lashes are gorgeous, however, this one is too long, it's too thick, so it gives my eye the appearance of droopiness, and it also carries in too much into the inner corner as well as the outer corner. As you can see, that inner corner is just way too thick and overpowering on my eye. Now let's go ahead and assess this one. I cut it so that it wasn't too far in, and I'll show that a little bit later. Also, if you notice, the lash is going in a nice kind of outwards motion, and most of the lash is focused where I assessed my eyes were the most hooded, so it creates a nice balance and a nice flow. Okay, so now let's move on to our demo. The first thing I'm going to do is apply a thin coat of mascara, very thin, and then as I apply my eyelash, I lift my eye. And this is important for me and all of my hoodies out there because we have that extra meat in the way, which will make putting on our lashes very difficult. So lifting it and even sometimes tilting your head will make putting on lashes so much easier. As you can see, I applied the lash in the center, and now I'm just tugging the inner and outer corners over my lash hairs. They are curly, so they're in the way, and I'm just going to kind of set that lash as close to my lash line as I can possibly get it. And then I'm going to take my lash tweezers and just squeeze my natural lash with the falsie so there are no gaps. And then I'm going to take my lash curler and do the same thing, you know, try to squeeze it together as well as curl the lash. And then here is the final result. These are the Ardell Demi Wispies, and they're some of my favorite lashes. I recommend them to all beginners, and you can get packs of them so you can practice. So yeah, here it is. Now let's move on to the next demo. As you can see, this lash over here is way too long, and you can also see the white band. I'm going to show you to fix that. First, you're going to take your lash, no glue, and you're going to place it against your eye. And I like to place mine a little bit away from the inner corner because I hate when the inner corner bothers me. And as you can see, I've assessed where I need to cut it. So I'm going to grab the lash where I need to cut it. And as you can see, the lash has little knots, so you're able to tell where to cut. You don't want to cut like in the middle of the hairs. You want to cut them kind of by the knot. And we're also going to remove that white band by using a felt tip liner. And I like using felt tip because it just gets really in there and it doesn't take as long to dry. So nice little pro tip for you. And here is the lash, and these are Kiss in the style Ritzy. And now here's another quick example of a lash that is too long for me. And all you have to do again is just place on your eye, assess where you need to cut it, grab it where you need to cut it, and then you're good to go. And I want to show this one because this one has a solid band, so it may be a little bit tricky, but at the same time it's still easy. You just have to place on your eye and you'll find where to cut it. And these are Lilly Lashes in the style Rio. These are some of my favorites because they're just so nice and fluttery. And then quickly, I want to demonstrate how I remove my lashes from their containers. I like to bend the holder of the lash and then take my tweezers and just go on the outer corners of the lash. Typically with mink lashes, they have a little bit extra band, so it's perfect to take them out from there. Also, I like to use the actual wand of the lash glue as opposed to the, the tip of the lash glue, just to apply my lash glue. And if I ever apply too much, I just dab off the excess on the back of my hand. Now let's go ahead and pop on this lash, and like all lashes, I always have to cut it. I have to cut pretty much every single lash that I own, but luckily with these ones it has little dents, I'm gonna call it dents, so it makes it easier to cut because you use those as guidelines. It's very important to do that. These are the same lashes I had on in the beginning. Like I mentioned, I was going to show you guys how to cut them, so here they are. Duh. Now let's move on to individuals. When working with individuals, I like to use trios. They're easier. And as you can see, I'm just placing it right on my lash line, and I'm just going to kind of tilt it down a bit just to squeeze it with my natural lashes, just so they're all going in the same direction and it doesn't look crazy. And I just like to apply them one by one, not too close together, but not too far apart either, just to give a really nice natural appearance. And these are the long ones. These are Ardell, and I only apply about 4 of them, so this is what they look like. Then I go ahead and curl them because they do need some curl, and here's what they look like curled. And I really like this look. It's very simple, but if you want to double stack, you can take a strip or you can take more trios. I took a strip, and I'm just going to place it on top, and I'm going to squeeze them together. And then I'm also going to curl these as well, just to get them nice and tight together. And here is the result of that, and I think it's gorgeous. I think it's amazing. It looks really nice and fluttery and natural, and it's so affordable. We're almost done, but I want to give you guys 2 more tips. Here's a tip for when your lash band is really thick, so it's creating a gap between your lash and your natural lashes. Just take a felt tip liner, because typically lash bands that are really thick tend to be shiny. I'm not sure why. So I like to coat it with a felt tip liner, and I like to take my lash curler and try to squeeze them together as much as I can, and it really gets rid of a lot of that gap and the lash looks better. And then for my final lash and final tip, I'm taking my favorites, and since they are my favorites, they have glue on it, and a quick lazy tip is to apply the felt tip liner. It's really quick and it gets rid of all that glue. And then I'm going to take the felt tip liner and just make a little thin wing, not a wing, but a line over the lash, just to kind of make it blend a little bit better, and it's going to make my lash line appear thicker. And then here is the result, and now we're done. And my eyes are done.